Hi, I'm Bale. I'm a straw bale house builder and I coordinate straw bale workshops. And this weekend we're having about 15-20 people to participate in this communal effort of building straw bale walls. These people participating will be doing a lot of labor, they will learn a lot of knowledge, and during that process it will encourage them to build their own homes, therefore spreading the word of straw bale wall building. A lot of people call straw hay, and it's basically straw is a dead material. After they harvest a crop, which can be wheat, rice, oats, barley, there's the stalk left over. They normally burn the stalk and produce more carbon monoxide on the planet. What they do now is they reharvest it, they cut it, they bale it specifically for a certain compression factor, and we get these beautiful large blocks called straw bale blocks. So it's a recyclable material, and we're creating a new industry for the farmers and the people that supply this. And you'll notice too, this is what we call a two-stringer bale. It's a polypropylene string. These things are about 35 pounds each, they're 3 feet long. That's a standard size. They do come in two different heights, either 14-inch or 16-inch. Specify that you want the 16-inch because that makes 7 courses. If you get the 14-inch, you have to add another course, which increases your cost again and your labor. It's $1.50 a bale, and then $500–600 for delivery, which makes it $2.50 a bale. We have the 15-pound felt paper on top of the footing to prevent moisture from wicking upwards. What we do too is with the straw, when we stack it, it's alternating in courses like bricklaying, so it's stronger. In Ted's situation, he's got some corners actually over there where there's just like an 18-inch length, so we have to custom make 18-inch bales, 7 courses high, and we just stack them. It's a short distance. He has a system here, what's called, the straw bale is what we call infill. It's inside the post area. But we have to notch a lot of bales to wrap around the post. That's more work. The fastest way to do your bales is to do your post system inside like the old Mennonites did, and then have the straw just go continuous. That makes it a lot easier as far as stacking straw. But there's more complications and engineering involved in that. Quick point, the rebars that are sticking up, they're minimum 7 inches into the footing, and they come up 1.5 courses normally. If you're at least 1 course up, you're fine. That will do right there. Now see, we can see with the string line too, this is pretty nice. So this we can either kick over or use a sledgehammer. Yeah, let me see, 3 feet. So what we're going to look for actually is a 38-incher because they'll butt up there. And this looks like could be close to a 38, so we'll use this one. The trick on this one is we're going to line it up so it's tight against the other bale end. Okay, right there. Good. Okay, now we'll slide it down again. Good. All right. And this one we have a little proud, so I'll just kick it in a bit. So the string is a little loose. Now you could kick that and bring this out a bit, and I'll hold that. Alright, so that's just doing fast tweak adjustment. Now the other thing we do too is, watch your head up above, stand on it, stomp it down so it sits real nice. The string here is at a 14.5-inch height. What that does for us is when we put the bales, we'll be able to have a straight line. The little things that take a few minutes to put up will help the job. So it's better to do this, and we get a very straight wall, and at the end when you stucco or plaster, you'll get a natural, organic waviness to it anyway. Okay, so you guys organize this next one, get a bale and figure out where the notch is. Put the bales with the knots up, because the bales are curved. It's a lot easier to compress it with the curve being in the center, or what we call a crown. So I'm going to sight the notch out. And then I'm going to get a short piece of string here because I want them to miss this. Just going to tie this quick. Pull it through here, through here. I'll do the same on the other side, and then I'll give it to somebody to notch. Full bale, full bale, full bale, okay. Can everybody come over here and we'll show you something else about what has to be done at every course. And this is what the code people want. So what they want is a minimum 6 inches up the post and 6 inches in to the bale of metal lath. And that's to tie it to the post and beam system. So you can do 4 nails or put them sometimes 6 depending what they want. So then what you do is you take the landscape staple, which you can get at the nursery. This is a 6-inch one, you can get a 9-inch one. And then you take that, and what you do is you put it through the lath and you're on an angle and nail it in. And do it both ways, and that holds the straw in to the post. Oh, a nice 38 would fit in tight. So we need to look for a 38-inch bale. Who wants to do that? These are 5-foot rebars, number 4, 1/2 inch. We are at a 4-course height, which means a 5-foot rebar is the length, the height of 4 courses. From this point on, we put 2 rebars per bale, and they're 9 inches in from the end. That's the code. Every course after this same 2 rebars go in. In the end, what happens is on the next course, the bottom of the rebar hits the top of the first course. Next course up hits this course. Next course, this course. So what you do is when you pound them in each course after that, you make the head just slightly visible on top to know you have rebars in there. And that is to tie it in all together. In the end, when you finish the whole wall, each bale will have 2 groups of 3 rebars grouped together. When he is done with the top course, code-wise and sensible-wise, you take 4 mil or 15-pound felt paper all the way across the top of the course, 6 inches down both sides, pin it from the sides, and that's a moisture barrier. Protects it in case you ever have a leak from the roof. It will run off the sides. So at least that way you're safe. So that one's gonna slide right in here. Now we have a nice overlap there. This is looking real good overall. He'll be able to tweak. You know, I can look down here and see the odd bumps in that. Considering the workshop and what everybody is doing, this is superb. Because, you know, to get it this clean, nice and square and everything else is wonderful. And Ted can come out here tonight at midnight and tweak it all for us. And this one here. Okay. He's got some windowsill members here where windows go in, and some windows are what we call floaters. It's just a box, goes on top of the course of straw, and then the straw goes on the sides. Then you say, how do you stabilize that? You drill holes in the wood, you take the 1/2-inch rebar, you drive it through the hole into the straw, and that locks it in. And anyway, we're coming over to this side here. It's a long stretch of straw bale wall with 4 windows, very nicely placed. We have the roof overhang, usually 2 feet for protection of the walls, especially since they're done with mud. It still needs to be completed, but it's going to have a beautiful effect in the end when it's done. Very simple. And then coming into this corner here, again, we have the gable end with the window up above, a loft inside. It's almost completed up there, the overhang again. So a real nice, very simple house. In the end, cosmetically, it's just going to be a beautiful sight to behold. The straw is nice because it's homeowner oriented, because it's very easy to learn how to build with straw. You still need somebody, if you don't have the skills, to figure out all the carpentry, posts and beams. But this is the fun part. You can do workshops with this.
By the end of the 2-day workshop, over 80% of the straw bales are in place. However, there is still some additional work to be done before the bales can be mud plastered. An electric chainsaw can be used to bullnose corners around the windows and also to level out the sides of the straw bale walls where needed.
Wooden shelves are constructed above the windows and doors. These are made out of 2x4s and wafer board, and they will support the straw bales above all window and door openings. Loose sections of straw bale will fill the void of the shelf itself. Then, bales will be cut to fit between the roof joists. This phase took quite a bit of work to fill in all of the voids, and it was a little bit tedious. Stucco netting is nailed to the exterior framing, and more straw is stuffed behind it to make for a nicely contoured base for the mud plaster. Much of this work was done strictly for aesthetic reasons. It also made for easier mudding, since most of the irregularities of the walls were filled in with straw. Loose straw will be stuffed behind the stucco netting on the gable ends. This will even out the walls in preparation for the mud. With most of the straw bale work accomplished, the roof can now be completed and made waterproof. Roof felt adds an extra layer of water protection. Any water that were to leak through a screw hole from the metal roof would flow safely away. The material is stapled to the OSB base. As we place the first sheet of the metal roof, we find out that there is a problem. The east side gable end of the roof is not perfectly parallel to the west side. Therefore, we're going to have to make a slight diagonal cut on the metal sheeting on the east side so that it will align to and be parallel with the west side.
This is kind of an example of an error early on that has compounded throughout the process. We had two walls meet not quite at a right angle. So what happened was it threw off our framing below, which in turn threw off our beam, which in turn threw off our truss, which in turn threw off this. As you can see, we've had to cut this particular panel at an angle in order to kind of straighten our leading edge. We ended up having to trim about just over 2 inches on this cut to straighten this out.
And then the roof will be straight all the way across.
Right. This leading edge will then put us true, and we should line up just fine with the other gable. The first piece is critical because all the other pieces follow. So it's very important to get the first piece to lay properly, and then the other ones just slip into place.
I think what's interesting is that because it's built out of straw and adobe, it's kind of a loose house, but when you get to something like a rigid roof that's done in a grid, it has to be very tight.
With this type of roofing system especially, I mean, I think if we were going with, 3-tab shingles or shake or something, I don't think it would have been a big deal.
Sheet metal is very easy to work with, and simple cuts can be done with shears. Larger, broader cuts can be done with a powered handsaw that uses a metal cutting blade. In this case, we've made a cutout for the skylight. A metal roof was chosen for a couple of reasons. They are very durable, and equally important, it will not contaminate rainwater that is collected for the cistern. Asphalt-based roofs will contaminate roof water runoff. The final step is adding the ridge cap, and our roof is complete.